How did lack of freedom contribute to the collapse? Have you ever wondered how a lack of freedom can lead to the downfall of a powerful state? The Soviet Union's collapse in the early 1990s offers a compelling example. The Soviet Union was a totalitarian regime for much of its existence. This meant that citizens faced severe restrictions on their rights and freedoms. Freedom of speech was heavily suppressed, and any form of dissent was met with harsh punishment. The government controlled all political expression and banned opposition parties. This created an environment where people could not voice their grievances or seek change through peaceful means. The legal system was also under the control of the Communist Party. This meant that the rule of law was not upheld, and civil rights protections were minimal. Without political pluralism or independent institutions, issues like economic inefficiencies and corruption could not be addressed. Citizens felt trapped in a system that did not allow for democratic processes or public debate. As a result, underground dissent began to grow. People started to share alternative ideas and criticisms through Samizdat, which refers to self-published literature. Despite the government's efforts to censor these materials, they spread among intellectuals and reform-minded citizens. This underground movement created a rising tide of dissatisfaction and a strong desire for change. In the late 1980s, Mikhail Gorbachev took the lead and tried to introduce reforms. His policies of glasnost, which means openness, and perestroika, which means restructuring, revealed how deeply people yearned for freedom and transparency. Gorbachev's loosening of control over Eastern Europe sparked democratic movements, leading to significant events like the fall of the Berlin Wall. However, the long-standing suppression of freedoms had already weakened the Communist Party's legitimacy. In 1991, hardline communists attempted a coup to reverse Gorbachev's reforms. This coup failed and further discredited the regime. As a result, various republics within the Soviet Union declared independence, unwilling to accept the lack of political freedom any longer. The lack of freedom in the Soviet Union created a rigid political system that could not adapt to the changing economic and social landscape. The suppression of civil liberties prevented constructive reform and fueled opposition movements. When the government finally relaxed its controls, the pent-up demand for freedom and democracy played a direct role in the collapse of the Soviet state and the end of communist rule in Eastern Europe. This historical lesson highlights the importance of political freedom and respect for human rights. Without avenues for peaceful dissent and political participation, governments risk alienating their populations. The Soviet Union's experience serves as a reminder of how critical these freedoms are for the stability and legitimacy of any regime.